and welcome to another episode of Bill Has Opinions, the football problem with the drinking show.
Woo!
I am Laura Lavoie, and I'm here, of course, with Bill Perkins, who has a touchdown.
The wave came around to my side of the stands. And I had to do it. Yeah.
So, yes, we are here. We are here for some football, and you might be asking why we're having a football show. It was my fault because because, as Jay points out, I made you wear the Lions hat in the little video. But the Detroit Lions are playing the Green Bay Packers tonight on Monday Night Football. So I just was getting ready, getting in the spirit, and I said we should do a show on football.
Okay, yeah, and I agreed to it because I probably got some things to say about it, in spite of whatever. But Jay's summation that'll be the day. I mean, in all fairness, if I was going to wear a football hat, I'd just as soon wear a Lions hat. I am a contrarian, and a Lions fan seems like the ultimate contrarian, doesn't it? I mean, it's like in spite of their record, I'm going to root for them.
That's what I mean, seriously, they've been bad my entire lifetime. They have, a few good years in the 90s, but not good enough.
Every now and again, a team can't completely ever suck, because if they never ever won, they wouldn't have fans at all. They gotta have like one or two strong seasons to cement the fan base, and then they've got to touch on it once in a while, just to make you go ooh ooh, and then just to give you that false hope, and keep you like, you know what I mean? It's like the abusive boyfriend promising he won't beat you ever again. He's gonna change.
Right. Well, and with the Lions, our good years were before there was even a Super Bowl, because it was 1957 was the last time we won a championship game. So, like literally not in my lifetime. So anyway, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. We are getting a little ahead of ourselves. So how are you? I see that you are in a empty white room.
I'm in a white room with black curtains at the station.
Are you?
No, I'm not really. We're at an Airbnb on the lake because my wife's family is at the lake for the week, and I was told, well, I was going to come here tomorrow or the next, I don't know. And then yesterday I was told, hey, no, come now. And I was like, okay, fine. Okay.
I'll just do what people tell me.
I just show up when I'm told to show up, and where I'm told to show up at. So there you go.
Does that mean your entire family of in-laws is currently watching you blather on about football?
They're all in another room. I don't think there's so many people in this house that if I were not in a room with the door shut, I don't think I'd be able to conduct my show fairly. So, and I was going to do it out on the front deck there, but because it's a pleasant breeze outside right now. But there are people hanging out on the front deck too. So I was like, well, that probably won't work. So yeah, no, and I imagine people would walk through and chime in about things and.
We always like a live studio audience, so that's totally cool.
I don't mind one or two people in the live studio. I don't want a whole, this is recorded in front of a crowd.
We're not.
It would be okay if we got to the point where we were so popular that we were doing this in an auditorium of fans who knew, but I don't want to do it in a room full of people who are all going to want to horn in on something.
We did #goals, by the way. If we can film it like the Prairie Home Companion or some shit.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I know other podcasts do that. Although I'll say this. That's been the end of a lot of podcast listening to me. Once they get popular enough where they're going around and they're doing live shows in front of a studio audience, I usually hate those shows. They don't have the same chemistry. There's like this whole goofy thing going on then, and it's not fun, and I can't listen to it. And so then that's when I bow out usually. So maybe we should never do that, or we should do that when we're ready to stop. I don't know.
Just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, exactly.
Just because we can.
Right. How
So
are you doing? You know, I never get to ask how are you doing. You always just go right on to the next thing. And
I do. I'm doing all right. Nothing to complain about. Nothing crazy.
I always feel bad. And I'm like, I'm, our friendship is one sided.
Well, I don't have anything to report today, but I appreciate you asking me.
Okay, well, just know that I always mean to ask you, but then usually we moved on, and then I feel like the statute of limitations on it is okay. Well, we're on to the next thing.
Well, the next thing is what beer are you drinking?
Next
Nothing goes with football like beer, so.
That's right. So because it's kind of a cool snap in the air, and I was telling Laura before the show actually, the cool snap in the air. The first cool snap in the air, I always walk out my door and I say to myself, that's football weather right there is what that is, But because there's a cool snap in the air, I'm drinking darker beers again. And I'm drinking a Smittix Red Ale right now that I picked up on a whim the other night, just out of morbid curiosity, really. It's okay. I don't love it. I've had better red beers than this, but it's all right. And then I'm going to finish that up with a Green Man Porter, which I've had before, and
Green Man Porter is that's quality beer.
That's a quality beer there. Yeah. What do you got? What do you got?
Well, I decided because it was football that I too would drink. So, well, I too would drink. That is true, but
because it's football.
Yeah. So because it's Monday. So I've got here the Devilishly Light Lager from Voodoo Ranger, which they have these new cans that are super cool now.
You know what? I got one of those before they were actually out because I was at this was a month ago. I was at the bottle shop over in Hendo, and I was talking about liking lagers or something, and there was a guy in there who worked at New Belgium, and I guess they must have given everybody who worked there like a 6 to give away, but they basically gave it to him and said, "Take these and distribute them at random, will you?"
All right.
And the guy says, "Hey, you like lager? Have this," and he gives it to me, and then the guy, the bottle shop tells me that the previous night he was somewhere else, and someone else who worked at the brewery gave him one. So I knew it was some sort of like guerrilla marketing strategy,
I do. I like the can though. Like it's super cool. Like
it's a really cool can.
Because I have on reserve, I don't know if I'll get to it, but I've got it. This is their old style where they had like the skeleton in costume, basically.
Right.
So I don't know if they're going to do this moving forward, but I like it. But I also have, after the light lager, I've got an Oktoberfest, a Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest, because it is Oktoberfest season.
Oh, and Sierra Nevada, I will say, for all my hatred of their normal beers, that's the style they excel at. I usually like their Oktoberfest every year. So I was actually looking for that when I settled for this. I went to the grocery store hoping to find a Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest to purchase. There were actually no loose Oktoberfest beers in the make your own 6-pack area.
They're too popular right now. Everybody wants them.
So I wound up, I was like, oh, well, I guess this Smittix Red Ale, that's kind of sort of that direction.
And Jay would like to remind me that I am drinking on a Monday because the Lions are going to get embarrassed on national TV, which is precisely what's going to happen.
They're going to be embarrassed? Because if they were really embarrassed, it seems like they would change their behavior.
Well, there is. Okay, so what I'll say before we get too far in, I am a lifelong Lions fan. It's just something like I moved out of Michigan, but I can't quit the Lions. But they have, so like every couple of years or so, we get a new coach and a whole new staff and a whole new situation. So we've got a brand new coach this year, a brand new quarterback. Well, not brand new, he's an experienced quarterback. I mean, we lost the first game of the season, but we actually didn't play shitty. We did okay. So,
and you guys have a tendency to do this thing, like, well, you'll beat the last year's Super Bowl winner in the in the preseason game, and then you'll get folks all up, right? And it turns out actually it's just because the Super Bowl winner from last year doesn't really want to expend any manpower on a stupid preseason game.
Definitely not in preseason.
Injuries tonight. Just go out there and let the Lions walk all over you.
Exactly. So yes, that happens. In fact, several years ago, when the Lions were the first team in NFL history to go 0-16 for a season, but then we can't even do that right? Like we go 0-16. This is a huge thing. It's the only team in history to ever do that. Then the Cleveland Browns did it a few years later, so we can't even do that right.
You even hold that record.
Yeah, but
now you'll do the kind of shit where you'll go like you'll win just one just to fuck up your losing record, right? Like you could at least have a losing streak, but no.
In fact, this year would be the year to do it. I say I still want us to win, but this year the NFL is playing 17 games. So if they lose all the games this year, they'll be back in that record.
Yeah, because then they'll have one more than Cleveland.
Exactly. So, hey, we'll see what happens. I still want to win. I don't want to hope we lose because it's more fun when we win, right?
But if they lose this one, they might as well just go for it, right?
Right. Exactly. But they're playing the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay.
So they're going to lose.
Probably. Although, I mean, this is probably a lot more football than most people are tuned in to see. But Aaron Rodgers has not been playing great. So maybe we have a chance.
Okay.
Maybe we do. But anyway, let's actually, I mean, if this was not the monologue, because I know you have some opinions on football, because it is.
I have some things to say about football.
You do. So let's hear them.
Okay, so first off, sometimes we go back and forth on what my monologue is going to be, and sometimes it's just this, here's my history with this subject. So I'm going to do that tonight. Here's my history with football. And it's because, when I was in first grade, my mother asked me, would you like to play Little League football? And I said yes. I did not. I said yes because she looked like she wanted me to say yes. So I said yes to make her happy. And then I did that for 3 years, and I did not like it at all. And here's the thing, actually. The games weren't bad. I hated practice. I hated the time commitment is what I think in retrospect. Like that was the thing I really disliked about it was the time commitment. But I also didn't like this. I didn't know the first fucking thing about football. Like my parents split up when I was like 4. I didn't watch football. My dad wasn't in the picture. My mom didn't watch football. So suddenly she's like, "Hey, you want to try football?" I'm like, "Okay." But I had no earthly idea what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like I knew we'd line up. And somebody would say, hike, and we'd all run that way. And that's all I fucking did. I guess it worked because I was like a right guard or something. So it didn't really matter. Like as long as I knocked the kid in front of me over and then ran where everybody else was running, it kind of looked like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. Nobody ever set me straight. But I really didn't get the game at all, right? Like I did not understand it a lick until I was in college and started following my college team, which, I think this is the thing. This is where I can commiserate with Laura. My college team is the college version of the Detroit Lions, okay? Because I went to University of South Carolina, the Gamecocks. And yeah, if there's ever like a lesson in humility, it's pulling for the Gamecocks, right? Like, but I finally learned what the game was watching the Gamecocks. Like I finally started sorting things out and go, oh, I get it now that they're doing this and they're doing. I mean, and I got how goals worked. I knew that part, that you get to the end of the field and you get a point or several points. I got that part. I didn't understand the whole downs and all that shit until I was older, right? Then I was like, oh, okay. Okay, and here's the funny part. I remember this, though. I was thinking about this earlier today when I was thinking about what I was going to say. You remember when I was in Little League, and I guess also when I was watching college ball, but the downs used to be 2 orange thingies attached by a chain.
I mean, they are still technically those things, but now we also have the digital line.
There's a glowing line that appears on the field.
There's fun fact though, the glowing line does not appear on the field for the players.
Is it not? I always wonder at some point because I don't know. Everybody doesn't have it, but the wide receiver always has like a shield now. You ever notice that? And I guess it's so that when he looks up to catch the ball, he doesn't get glare in his eyes. That's why
or a football in his face.
Well, I think it's more about like because when you look up to catch the
glare.
ball, usually you get glare and then you can't see the ball.
Right. Well, and of the bright lights
But I always
of the
like,
stadium.
why don't they make it so that all the football players have that, and it's like an augmented reality thing, and they can all see the down line on the field like we see it at home.
I imagine at some point, maybe in our lifetimes, that will in fact be the case.
Yeah, I think it oughta, because boy, I tell you what, that glowing yellow line sure is better than the two orange thingies with the chain.
But they still have this, so they still use the two orange thingies with the chain. Like anytime, the call is this much, right? They bring out the chain and they measure it. Mm-hmm. So, and sometimes the little glowing yellow line isn't exactly perfect. So you're like, man, that's a first down. That's a first down. Then they measure it and you're like, how is that not a first down?
It's totally a first down. They're just bullshit, and they're just, you know what they're doing. They're just like, yeah.
But I have to go back to your little league football here for a second.
Okay.
So you said you started it in the first grade?
Yeah.
And you played for 3 years?
Yeah.
All right. So I can't admit. So the reason I like football is that it's a game of strategy. It's like chess. You have these plays and you have these things you're supposed to do, and every decision it affects the outcome moving forward,
right,
for better or worse. So I can't imagine the strategy for 7, 8, and 9-year-olds is all that elaborate.
Which is probably why nobody ever took me aside and said, "Hey, kid, do you even understand this fucking game?" Because they're probably they probably just watched all of us. And I mean, if we weren't standing in the corner picking our nose when the ball was snapped, they figured they're doing fine.
Exactly. I mean, it's like little kids soccer. I mean, you're not expecting them to know the game. You just want them to run back and forth.
It sounds like, hey, as long as they're going to go to bed tonight, that's really what they're here for, right?
Exactly.
Like, exactly. The energy.
So I don't remember a time when we didn't have Lions games on in our house, because my dad wasn't the Lions fan, but my mother's a big sports fan. So we would always have the Lions on in the house, and I didn't really, I wouldn't actively watch it, but it was always there, so I always knew it was on. And then after Matt and I moved in together, not even when we first started dating, and he's, I noticed that football seemed to be an important part of his life. I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down and learn this game. I'm going to learn how this works and actually watch it. And so, I mean, we've been together 26 years. So I'm talking, I was 20 when I started learning, 21 when I started learning how to watch football. But from there on out, I learned enough about the game and continued to learn about the game and actually became a legit fan, not just the wife cheerleader who hangs out while your boys are watching the game. Which I've been accused of before.
Oh, like that SNL skit where that woman's like, "I've got something for my hungry guys," and she brings them in the tray of pizza.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Exactly. No, I was at a Super Bowl party once, and one of the guys at the Super Bowl party, I said something about, I don't remember what I said, something about Lions fans at the Super Bowl party, because almost everybody there was from Michigan. And he's like, and I said, I think there might be more Lions fans here. And he's like, well, yeah, if you count wives. I'm like, no, I count me. I'm not just wives.
I mean, women only really count as 3/4 of a football fan, right?
Is that in the Constitution or something?
What they decided when they were drawing up the NFL rules.
Yeah, that actually makes some sense. I'm all for it. All right, let's do a real quick. Oh, wait, we got a comment here. Oh no, we already had that comment. I jumped the gun. I got excited. I was like, do we have another comment?
Hey, look at that.
That is an
old. You have to say twice. They're going to get embarrassed on national TV.
That is true. All right, let's do a station break here. Let's see. I don't really have anything related.
We don't have anything football related.
Nothing football related. We don't have anybody that sells football merchandise. Although, so here I'll pull this one up because it's a favorite, right? They're just coming back from Gen Con, Geek Orthodox.
Yeah, spoke to Tammy today, and she said that they had a really great con and they sold a lot of things.
Excellent. Yeah, it sounded like they had a fantastic few days, like even better than Dragon Con. So as far as sales.
Yeah.
But I was gonna mention, what would be fun are like football style nerdy stained glass things, like with like Hogwarts houses but teams.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun.
Well,
I'd buy that.
It'd be fun, but there would be licensing grievances, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm sure there would be, much like Star Wars.
Well, okay, but I guess there's that. But I feel like the NFL probably guards their properties worse.
They do, very much so. But you could always you can make it adjacent, like the Hogwarts Lions or the Hogwarts Owls, and it would just be football style.
Yeah, I get you. If you finagled it in the right way, you could probably get away with it.
Yeah, I think you can do it. Not that they want to make football.
You can always get a custom thing, and they can do a one-off. If as long as it's one-off, like the NFL can't really they're not really going to fuss about that. It's just mass marketing something. But give these guys a holler. I should have sent you a picture of next time you do the thing. But we bought 4 Klings at Dragon Con, and we've got in our Harry Potter themed room now. We've got 4 of the Hogwarts houses on the window now, and they look great. It really brings the room together.
Does it tie the room together?
Almost like a rug, yeah.
Just like that.
Anyway, but back to the story at hand. I want to speak for just a minute because I started. Okay, so there was the Little League thing, and then I got to college and I kind of got into football there. Oh, sorry, no, I need to backtrack. So I had a foray prior to that where I was a Gamecock fan prior to college. Really, there was a family friend who had like season passes to Gamecocks games back when I was in like junior high, and used to take me to every other game or so, and so I would go and we would tailgate and then go to the game. And this was actually one of the years when the Gamecocks were having a fairly stellar season, but this was before the conference things got real heated, like because they used to play a fair amount of non-conference games. Now it's like they play like 4 non-conference games a year, maybe tops. They used to play like half and half almost. I feel like, right? Like they would have, and so the Gamecocks partially, I think they had better years because they played a lot of teams that were like in the lower. Like they would play. I remember we used to play like they would play Eastern Carolina and they play Western Carolina, and those were like you could look at the roster and you go, that one's a gimme, that one's a gimme. We're gonna beat those two. We're gonna beat Vanderbilt. We're gonna, there were things you could just know. You would look down the thing and you go, we're gonna beat that. We're gonna beat that. We're gonna beat that. We're gonna beat that. I look at the roster anymore because now it's like I think they have SEC games and then they have 2 non-conference games. Okay, cupcakes, yes.
Yep.
But
play something easy.
Yeah, but they don't got that anymore. Like, so when now, like the only 2 non-conference games they got, one of them is Clemson, which is their big in-state rivalry. That's a tough game every year. Clemson's the only good team in the ACC. So they're you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're playing like a cream puff team on one of their few non-conference games, and the entire SEC is a tough fucking conference.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically just get their ass handed to them all year now anymore. I think one other gimme maybe, even that sometimes is like, because I'll like it's a toss up. Like sometimes but they're kind of a sucky team, and we do the same thing though. What you were saying earlier about the Lions, we'll get a new coach,
and
we'll get all oh my god, because they'll hire. I mean, they've hired some really stellar coaches who have a history of being winning coaches. They had Lou Holtz who had led Notre Dame to victory for years and years, right? And he came out of retirement to take the position basically because they waved money at him. They gave it. I know they paid his ass $1 million a year to be their coach, right? And he came in, and he was absolute a waste of time and money. And I could have told you that. Like that guy, if he's retired, him coming out of retirement is not going to be a good deal, right? Like that never works.
Right.
Now then they got Steve Spurrier, who had won a lot down in Florida, and and he's had one good season with them, I think. But you always think, like, I don't necessarily think like the first year you get the new coach, I don't go, ooh, this is going to be it, because it's going to take, that guy's got to build his team, right? Like, I say like the third year of that coach, like because the reason I think what Carolina is trying to do when they get a new coach that has some clout is they're trying to attract talent. They're trying to get when they send the scouts out to get the star quarterback from, who led their high school team to state. They want him to go. Now, why would I consider University of South Carolina? Am I going to be a star there?
Right.
Although I think people should look at it this way. I think they should come to USC because they should say, hey, you know what? I'm going to stand out. If I'm the good player in a sucky team, people will notice.
Yes. You tell that, and you can tell that in NFL teams. Like when someone comes from a mediocre school, like it's far more impressive than when someone comes from University of Georgia or, University of Michigan. Like, because they're not impressive. Those are impressive teams. The other teams are not.
I'm trying to remember there was this kid a couple years ago. He was really good. I say kid, he's a grown ass man. I don't
They're all kids. We're in our 40s. They're all kids.
Yeah, he's younger than me.
They're literally every football player except Tom Brady is a child.
Marcus Lattimore. Do you remember him?
I don't directly. Do you know who he played for?
The 49ers. Okay. But he came out of the Gamecocks during the it was a couple years back. Last time they were having a decent season, he was a running back, and he was really good. But, I mean, they were having a decent season, but they're a sucky school. So when you get that good player at the sucky school, like, they get attention. Bam. And then the scouts are like, oh, look at this guy over here leading the Gamecocks to some wins.
Exactly. Like, they're already scouting at the big schools, but they're like, hey, check this out.
You have to bust your ass at, UCLA to get noticed. But if you lead Gamecocks to maybe 6 wins a year, they're going to go, hey, what's this now? Hey, the Gamecocks are having a good season. What's that kid doing?
So I have to say that, so it's funny because most of your football fandom would be college, right? Because you're a Gamecocks fan. I am completely the opposite. College football makes almost no sense to me. And I watch exclusively the NFL. And part of the reason for that, other than marketing, like they're really good at getting you to watch the NFL, is that all I have to worry about is 32 teams. Now it was 16, now 17 games a year. And then maybe some playoffs that my team isn't in, and then the big game. Like that's all I have to worry about.
Yeah. That's
my commitment. That's my entire time commitment.
I get you there, and there are some things I will say. This is the thing. I want to say this. While I like the Gamecocks and I will watch them, I'll watch them if it's convenient for me. Okay, that makes me. Also, I tend to be more engaged on years when they're having a good year, and that makes me what's called a Fairweather Johnson, which was also the name of an album of one of my alumni members.
Nice.
The Hootie and the Blowfish, I think one of their albums was Johnson, and that's named after the kinds of fans who are fans when the team's doing well. I'm not a fan when they're doing poorly. I'm just aware that they're doing poorly. I don't plan my week around it. That's the thing. I'm more likely to go out of my way to plan my week around it when they're having a good year. The problem with college ball, this was what I was getting at when I started this whole tirade, is that it comes on Saturday.
Right.
And Saturday is a day when you're otherwise engaged in other things. And it's very hard because the game will move around. Like sometimes, like if it's at 7, yeah, okay, you probably have time for that, But when it's at 3 or 1 or something like that, like it's real hard that it's real hard to make time for that shit because you've got other things going on,
I'm just gonna leave this here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that.
No. No, yes. But no, and that's exactly right. Like football, NFL football, other than the random Monday night game, which the Lions almost never play,
Right.
Because who wants to see that? It is it's Sundays, usually at 1:00, and I'm
one Thursday.
Well, we play one Thursday every year, which is a very, very special thing because the Detroit Lions play the Thanksgiving Day game every year. One of 3 now. It used to be the only one, and then it was one of 2, and now it's one of 3.
Yeah.
But and it's funny because the NFL has repeatedly suggested that the Lions, because they suck, should not play the Thanksgiving Day game. And every time the NFL suggests that, the Ford family that owns the Detroit Lions says, "Are you sure about that?" Because they threaten to pull all of their advertising. And they're like, "Oh, no, the Lions are fine."
I know, they're good. They're good.
Lions will do nicely on Thanksgiving. Thank you. But nobody but Lions fans watch that.
Are you sure you want to pull that? Because I feel like the Lions are sort of Ford tough. If you
Exactly. But for me, Thanksgiving Day, I've definitely been to, yeah, exactly, Jay. The Lions were the very first to do a Thanksgiving game. And then the Dallas Cowboys did it for a while. And then the third game they now add at night is just a rotating set of teams. Like, it's no.
Fun fact, the Clemson-Carolina game used to be on Thanksgiving Day also until very recently, within the last decade. Then they decided to move it to the Saturday around Thanksgiving instead. But that used to be a thing. And it was the only, as far as I'm aware, Thanksgiving Day college game around,
Right. And I always think it's funny, for me, Thanksgiving Day is equivalent to football. Like, you don't have dinner until the game's over. Like, you can't, there's no option, right? That's how it works. But I always find it funny when you watch movies that there are only a handful that take place on Thanksgiving, right? But they're always watching football, and they never specify the team or anything like that. And I'm like, hey, if they're watching it at noon, they're watching the freaking Lions. Like, there's no other option.
Yeah, they didn't want to pay royalties is all.
Exactly.
They would have to acknowledge that they were watching a Lions game, and they have to pay, money out. And, yeah,
Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
So, all right, where do we want to go from here? Let's see. We talked about college versus NFL. We talked about some teams. Stadiums. So, did you go to a lot of football games when you were in school?
No, I did not. You know what? I never went to the stadium when I was in school. I actually like when I was in junior high and I used to go see them, it was always at the stadium. And actually Williams-Brice Stadium always wins. Sometimes that's one of the few things that the Gamecocks win is that they have one of the better stadiums in college ball because they built a stadium that was way bigger than it needed to be when they built it.
Right.
It can house they've had Farm Aid there. They've had like a lot of, it's a big deal because it's a huge ass stadium, right? And it's bigger than it has any need to be, especially considering the popularity of that team. But it's got a nice flow to it too. I guess it's got those curly ramp things like
curly ramp things
like the Guggenheim. So it gives a flow when it's like time to let out. It doesn't get as congested getting out of it.
I appreciate that in a stadium.
Yeah, no, let's see. So that's the only, is that the only college ball stadium I've been in? Yeah, I think it is. I've been to that, and I'm trying to think if I've never seen an NFL game live.
Wow, we're gonna have to change that.
Yeah,
I've never have to go see a Panthers game or something.
I've never even seen a concert at the Panthers Stadium. I've driven by it. I used to work around the corner from it, but never been in it.
Like, look, there's a stadium.
There's a stadium. Yeah, I mean, I'm aware where it's at, and it's a pretty big stadium.
Yes, it is.
So, Soldier Field, I guess I've driven past that.
Oh, do you've driven? So that's fair. That's fair that you've driven past other stadiums. You probably have in other cities too, driving around, but maybe you didn't know it, but you probably did. Like if you've been to Nashville, you probably were somewhere near. So Jay says, I love college football, but hate going to college games, at least here, because both Michigan and Michigan State don't have seats. That is correct. They're just bleachers with stupid numbers. Completely agree with that. And I only went to one single football game my entire time in college, like my freshman year with like my dorm went. And I was like, this is dumb. And I didn't want to go see anymore after that. Now it's funny because I've been to countless football games all over the country. In fact, all over the world. I went to see a Detroit Lions game at Wembley Stadium a few years back in London.
How was that stadium?
That's a cool stadium. That is a nifty stadium right there. It is super cool. Like it's actually really efficient too. It's you enter in your section. So like there are doors all the way around. And you only enter in your section. So it makes it really easy to get to your seat. But what I love is that during soccer games or British football games, they don't sell liquor because soccer fans sort of have a reputation, right?
Yeah, they don't want any trouble.
They brought in beer concessions just for the NFL game because there's no way an NFL fan could not.
Come on, you gotta have beer. Did they have? Wait, so did you have British beers though, or did they bring in American beer?
No, they were British beers. I can't remember. They were European beers. I remember one of the beers that we had was like a European lager.
Did they half cut them?
They did not. They did not. We just got bottles. Which I thought was funny that we got, like, they weren't worried about us throwing bottles onto the field.
Yeah, they're not going to do any of that.
They're not doing that. But that was an amazing game because we played the Atlanta Falcons. And the way they do it when they go to London is they don't randomly pick a team, but one team is the home team. And it's whatever team didn't play in their own stadium. So that team's the home team. And the Falcons were the home team. So we were there for the Lions. And we won that game in the last seconds on a technicality, and it was freaking insane. Oh, I am still talking about it. I think you died. Where'd you go, Bill? There's no Bill. Bill's just laughing at me forever. Maybe someday he'll be back. We'll talk more about football. But yes, I've been to stadiums all over the country because since we moved away from Detroit, we can't go see games in Detroit very often anymore. So we have seen games in Lambeau Field. Apparently, it is just me now. We'll see if Bill comes back. Otherwise, I will talk for a few more minutes and then see what happens. But I've been to Lambeau Stadium, which was like a bucket list stadium for me. And yes, I agree. He did look very peaceful in the end before he vanished from the feed. That was a bucket list stadium, and I was very glad I went. But like Jay said with the college games, because they don't have seats, they just have bleachers. So it's kind of a pain in the ass to sit there. But I've been to the Superdome in New Orleans. I've been to, the old stadium in Atlanta, not the new one yet. Been to see the Panthers play in Charlotte. Been to Minneapolis to see a game. Super fun. So, all right, let me see if I can find where Bill is. And we'll be right back. So, real quick, Jay, while we wait for Bill to return to the show, which I think he's trying, he's rebooting as we speak. The stadium in Atlanta, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I know Matt was there a couple of years ago and he said it was freaking awesome. And we were actually hoping to go there on the day after Christmas this year, and that still remains to be seen, but just because of the situation. So, all right, let's see, Bill's back. Let me go back to here and take this off. Hey!
Hi. I said I was sharing a house with all my in-laws, and apparently everybody on Earth is downloading a movie at the same time or some shit. I don't know.
Well, darn, they tell them they shouldn't be watching a movie. They should be watching Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I don't know what all they're doing, but I went in the other room to see why the hell the internet crapped out, and everybody in the place is on a different device, and I'm like, a big surprise why I don't have any bandwidth,
Well, you're back now, and that's what matters. People missed you. You were frozen in a very peaceful look for a little while. So, no.
Great.
I don't think I'm still muted. Matt, can you still hear? Can you hear me? Not on the.
I hear you.
If you hear me, I'm not muted.
I'm like, how would I hear you if you weren't?
I muted for a minute because I was just sitting here with the "We'll be right back" screen on. So.
Oh yeah, I thought I saw you freeze up, and I was like, oh, is that you? And then I froze up, and I was like, oh, it's me. Never mind.
Oh no, it's me. Oh no, it's me. Well, that's all right. I talked all about some stadiums, so.
Cool. Well, you got that out of the way. Since I hadn't been to any, I didn't really have anything to reject on that.
So one thing you did want to talk about, because I think it's huge with college ball, but it's also huge with NFL, and is something I've done a lot of, is tailgating, which I think is a big part of the experience.
Well, because this is the thing with anything, what I usually like is eating. That's the thing I'm into. Whether or not I'm a big football lover, I'm a big food lover, and tailgating is a big deal. It was a big deal at University of South Carolina. The whole, gosh darn, blocks and blocks and blocks around the stadium. Just people pulling up and this is funny. I actually noticed because I stopped for breakfast this morning at the Bojangles. For the folks who don't live in the Southeast, Bojangles is a spicy chicken racket. It's like Popeyes, but local-ish.
Right.
I think it's out of North Carolina, right?
I think so. Yeah. I believe it is.
I mean, it's in other states, but it's out of North Carolina. Anyway, so Bojangles has a thing. The Bojangles in South Carolina, they have a big tailgate box they'll sell you.
Oh, nice.
They have it in North Carolina too, but the one in North Carolina, I think it has the Panthers on it, right? It's a big Panthers box. In South Carolina, you can buy it, and it's either a Gamecocks or a Clemson box.
Ah.
It's like a whole meal, and you can buy that. But so people have, so fried chicken is one of the things people have because that's an easy tailgate food.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing, because what you need, certainly people cook, they have crock pots or they have grills, right? But when you can have something that it doesn't matter if it gets cold or stays cold or is cold, I think that's the perfect tailgate food.
Absolutely. I'm trying to think, aside from fried chicken, what other things? Like you said, some people grill out, so they'll have a grill there, and they'll be, flipping burgers and dogs on the back of the truck or whatever. I don't know. Sub sandwiches, I guess that's a big thing, right?
Yeah. And I've had any number of things.
Whatever you want to call them.
Yes. Grinders, all of the different types of stuff. But if I recall correctly, when Jay does tailgating for the Thanksgiving Day game, and I've been there, I drank with him at his tailgating spot, but I'm pretty sure they make a turkey. I think that's a thing they do. He can tell me if I'm right.
Do they fry a turkey or do they grill a turkey?
I think it's fried, but I suppose you could do it either way.
Okay.
Depends on what you want to do.
You can't bake a turkey.
Well, no, unless you pre-baked the turkey. Oh, and yes, you are correct. Chili is a tailgate staple.
Okay.
I agree.
While we're talking about tailgating, I also want to segue into Super Bowl parties. Also, good food venue there. And that's the thing. I'll show up at a Super Bowl party regardless of giving a shit. I don't care who's playing. I'm there. I'm here for the eats. Is
Yep.
what I. So I like. Oh man, you know my favorite thing at Super Bowl party is buffalo chicken dip.
Oh, I love buffalo chicken dip.
That's
Oh,
some
I
good.
love that.
That's some good shit, right? And sometimes I remember one year. There was one year because you guys invited me to a Super Bowl party several years, and then you were gone one year. Um, and I was like, man, I didn't get invited to a Super Bowl party. And so the next day, like that Monday, I was like, man, I really want some buffalo. I went to the grocery store and I bought all the things, and I made buffalo dip.
Perfect.
Ate it for dinner the next. Because I missed it, like that's a thing.
I love buffalo chicken dip.
You gotta have it once in a while,
That is good stuff. Yeah, and I pretty much only ever have it for Super Bowl parties. That's when I bust that out.
You know what else is good? I don't know if you guys make this, but this is a thing I used to make for as a party dish, but Super Bowl parties count. But it's this, it's like sausage and cream cheese and Rotel chilies and tomatoes.
Oh
and
yeah.
It all together, so it's like this creamy sort of white sausage dip, and it's really good with the Frito scoops.
Oh yeah.
Now here's the thing I'll say about this particular dish: it's good. It's really good, but it's really rich also. And you'll have that one magic bite where you eat it and you're like, okay, I'm going to get sick if I eat one more bite.
Exactly. Yes. So tailgating. So I've been tailgating with Jay in Michigan. I've also tailgated. I did tailgate at Lambeau Field, which is funny when you are a Lions fan at a Green Bay Packers game because they don't like you.
Yeah.
But it was.
It's not like going to an Eagles game where you get your ass kicked, right?
Yeah, actually, that's one stadium I don't ever intend to go to because I think I would get my ass kicked. Whereas other stadiums, people have been very kind to me. They're like, "Oh, honey, you like."
Oh, you poor Lions fan. Yeah, that's how. Honestly, the Eagles should be that way too. Because like, why should they have any animosity towards like it's going to be a gimme, right? Like,
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I do have to tell you about a game that we have played tailgating.
Okay.
And this
I was hoping you bring this up.
Oh, yes. So it started in Michigan many, many years ago for Lions games. We brought it back. Yeah, exactly. The Lions are not a threat. But so we brought it back when we went tailgating a Lions game in Atlanta. We went to see, it was actually the first game of the 0-16 season. We went to see the game in Atlanta. They had a brand new quarterback, and we're like, oh, this guy isn't going to be great. And then he totally kicked our asses, and he's turned out to be a really great quarterback. But anyway, we brought this game here, and at this game, we had a whole bunch of people that worked with Matt's company, most of whom were originally from Detroit. So a lot of them were fans. Then we had some random Australians, like they were just there because they were in town working, and they're like, I'll go to an American football game, sure. So and then just some like other random people that didn't care about football at all. They're just like, we'll go to the game. So we were tailgating, and we brought up the 40 grab bag. So what is the 40 grab bag, you might ask? The 40 grab bag is when you go to a liquor store and you buy a bunch of random 40-ounce beers. Not good ones, like bad random 40-ounce beers. And you make sure that one of those beers is not just bad, but like the worst thing ever.
Okay. And you
like
don't
one year,
I'm guessing, right?
Well, one year we had Old English was one of the bad beers. Like a great one would be if you could find it, Cool Colt, which was the Colt 45 menthol beer. If you could find that, that's a perfect one for this game.
Sounds so bad.
And then you put them all in a bag.
Yeah, I got you.
And then people have to grab it. And the rule is you cannot not finish it. You have to drink your entire 40.
Backsies, right?
Yes, none.
Like whatever you pull out, that's oh, King Cobra, you're drinking that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what you got to go with. You got to go with the really, really, really bad.
Actually, I think Mickey's sound pleasant compared to half the shit she's talking about. Like Mickey's are just like a malty lager is all they are really. Like they're actually okay.
Well, I got a Miller High Life the last time. It's the champagne of beers. The last time I did 40 grab bag, And I was, because, it's a 40, so I'm like, I'm never going to finish this. So I kept just casually pouring a little bit out as I was walking.
For your homies?
Yes. I'm like, well, hey, it's gone. That's what it is. So, but yes, 40 grab bag. If you are tailgating, it is a fun game to play if you just want to drink shitty beer.
I'm curious, since Doug McMahon is watching and on. So he lives in Southern Ohio. What's your team, Doug?
If he's in Southern Ohio, wouldn't it be Cincinnati Bengals? Unless it's not.
He's not that Southern Ohio. He's in the part of Ohio that's between Kentucky and West Virginia.
That would be clean. That would be Cincinnati.
I didn't know if he was a Cincinnati fan or an Eagle. Or sorry, not an Eagles. He could be an Eagles fan. He lived in Philly for a while, or he could be a Browns fan. I thought maybe.
Browns is actually closer to Michigan.
Oh, I get you, but
Let's see if we have. Yep.
He's right off 76. Okay, there you go.
The Bengals. He's a fan of the Bengals because it's Manic Monday.
Yeah, I got you. I like the Bengals too. They had some good hits. They were the female Beatles of the 80s. Is what
little Walk Like an Egyptian.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worth. If I were going to follow an NFL team, the Bengals are good. They're as good as any, really.
I mean, yeah, Susanna Hoffs really was one of the better quarterbacks of any team.
So, yes. But, Cincinnati. But, all right, let's see. And so, oh my God, we have talked about everything that's on the list. Look at us. Because the last thing I had on the list was the big game, because I put it there in case somehow the NFL was monitoring.
Oh, yeah. This is one of those things. So this is funny because I remember this. Like, while I didn't really care about football much at all when I was a child, aside from, like deciding to play football, even though I didn't know what the hell was going on. I remember that year. The year was 1985. And the world was enthralled with the Chicago Bears.
With the Super Bowl shuffle?
With the Super Bowl shuffle. It's because they had a rap video, wasn't it? It's really, that's what it was. It was all just a playful gimmick. No, yes. It was also the refrigerator William Perry. He had taken the world by storm.
Yes, he did. So it's really funny that you mentioned that because in that time frame, right? So other teams decided that they were going to make videos too.
Yeah, but they made bad videos.
Yeah, well, songs at least. And the Detroit Lions have Another One Bites the Dust, which is a parody of Another One Bites the Dust, and it is. I still think is one of the greatest songs ever written. It is. And we will, when we do win, we will blast it, especially when we were going to bars to watch games, after we moved to Georgia.
Uh-huh.
So if we won, we would leave the bar and blast the Lions, Another One Bites the Dust. I actually almost queued it up to share screen and play it, and I should have done that because it is weird and crazy, and everybody should Google it right now.
Yeah, I remember it was a thing for about 3 years after that everybody would do a corny rap video for a minute, and then it was like, oh, okay. It turns out it only really worked that one time.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, I do highly encourage you to check it out. Hold on, let me see if I can find it real quick. Look it comes right up when you. All right. If I click on it, though, it'll start playing, and that'll be annoying. But I will post the link in the comments here so that we can all watch it.
Okay. I do have to say this before we get off because I just want to take a brief moment to mention once again that if we go back to college ball, that there is a single conference worth of shit, and the rest of them are just kidding themselves. If you're not in the SEC, it's like every year they do the rankings, and UCLA or University of Southern California get ranked. Oh, big fucking deal! Wait till you get your to the championship and see how you get your ass handed to you by an SEC team.
Right.
That's what's going to happen if they had to play an entire season in that conference. They'd learn a thing or two about a thing or two, and that's the one thing I give the Gamecocks props for. They might be losing team, but they're the losingest team in the toughest conference.
Right.
So
right. Which I would say about the Lions too, but we are in the NFC North with the Bears, the Packers, and the Vikings, and yeah, we usually still end up the worst team in that group.
But it is a tough. You got a tough road to hoe. It's not like you're not playing. I don't know. I'm trying to think who would be easy to walk over.
Hey, nobody. The Lions are that team. The Lions are the people.
Okay, yeah, I mean, like the Browns would be the only equivalent team that would be easy to beat, right? Like,
yeah, except they got good after they lost that entire season. They got good for a little while.
Okay, well, so I'm just saying, like that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because I like to shit on other conferences, especially the Pac-10 and the Big Ten, who both think that they're the shit and they're not very good conferences, really.
Right, and hey, Penn State did beat Auburn last weekend, so.
Oh, well, okay.
You just never know. Like the year that Appalachian State beat University of Michigan, and it was. I specifically remember it because I was at Dragon Con.
Right.
It was a crazy because there used to be a restaurant downstairs at the Hilton. When you walked all the way downstairs, there was a restaurant right there. It hasn't been there for years. And we were sitting in there in the bar watching the game at Dragon Con. It was crazy.
I know about that one because I had a lot of coworkers who were App State graduates, and they all thought it was funny because apparently the people from Michigan came down and they were wearing these shirts that said it said "Where is Boone?"
Uh-huh.
At the end of the day, they were all like, "I bet you know where Boone's at now."
Yeah, I bet you do now. Yeah, and Jay, being a fan of the Michigan State Spartans, finds this the greatest day in football history when the Wolverines got their ass handed to them by a tiny college in North Carolina. All right. Because it is the Monday night game, I have to go because I got to watch that game.
Call a timeout and get out of here.
Time out. Hurry up, offense. Hurry up. Okay, but. Yeah. So we do not have a mailbag, and we tried to think of something extra earlier today, and we did not have one. So
it's fine. We don't want the show to go into overtime.
You were waiting all game to say that, weren't you?
I was.
All right. So why don't you just take us away?
Okay. Bill Has Opinions is engineered and produced by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are those of his and his alone, unless Laura seemed to agree with him, in which case I guess they share that opinion, and vice versa. They definitely don't reflect the opinions of our sponsors who don't pay us a damn dime to be on here. They're just friends of ours that we decided to give a pitch to. Until people do decide to give us a dime, feel free to reach out. Anyway, you can feel free to follow us on Facebook and like and subscribe on YouTube. And if you say anything about our show, be sure to hashtag Opinion Gang. When you do that, and leave us mailbag questions and whatever, we'll see you again next week when we have a different topic.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. Sometimes I think to look it up, and then sometimes I forget.
Yeah.
And also because we didn't play this all show, and because I'm about to go watch a Green Bay, Wisconsin versus Detroit Lions game. You know where that's from, don't you? It's from the state of cheese. If anybody's actually ever watched our little bumper, it's from the state of cheese.
Yes.
So, all right, folks, we will see you in a week. Bye, everybody. Talk to you soon.
See ya.